Welcome everybody to this webinar about meaningful tourism. My name is Professor Dr. Wolfgang Georg Alt. I'm the founder and the CEO of the Meaningful Tourism Center. And let us start the presentation. So what is Meaningful Tourism Center? So it's a non-profit organization officially based in London, and the headquarters are here in Kathmandu. That's where we are at the moment. So we have two topics. One is meaningful tourism as a practical tool for the holistic, sustainable tourism development. And the second is China's outbound tourism. So maybe some of you know me as a China guy, because more than 20 years ago, I started COTRI, the China Outbound Tourism Research Institute, and I've been talking about China tourism for many years. So what are we doing? Obviously, we are providing research, training, consulting services for organizations and institutions. And just very briefly, so you can see I've been doing a lot of things with China, and in the last years, especially with sustainable development. And since last year, I decided to move to Kathmandu, and I'm living now here in Nepal. So the meaningful tourism paradigm defines that there are 6 main stakeholders in tourism and hospitality. And the basic idea is a very simple one. Everybody has to be happy about the development to have a good situation. So that is not a very unusual idea. But in tourism, unfortunately, this has not been always the case until now. And happiness means all the 6 stakeholders have to receive benefits which are objective, which might be good jobs, money in the pocket, regional development, and so on. And satisfaction, which is of course subjective, so that people are happy with receiving visitors or happy with the job in the industry, and of course happy with the minimal effect, as small as possible effect on the environment. So 6 stakeholders. Who are the 6 stakeholders? Obviously, the first one are the visitors and the guests, so the travelers. The second, the host communities, and we all saw that the host communities have become more and more important, and in some places annoyed by too many tourists. We have the employees, and that includes tourism, hospitality, but also transportation, also retail, attractions. So as we all know, 10% of all the jobs in the world are connected to travel and tourism, and they have not been treated very well before the pandemic. As a result, many of them did not return to the industry when the pandemic was finally over. The companies giving the services, of course, they have to earn money so they can invest and grow. The governments on different levels getting taxes and also having a tool for regional development. And last but certainly not least, the environment, both on a local level and on a global level, where we have the job to make tourism a force for good and not being seen as one of the polluters. One important point about meaningful tourism is that this benefits and satisfaction have to be measured. So, and for that, you have normally what is KPIs, so key performance indicators, so that we are not talking about, like many politicians do, by 2060, this and this will happen, but we talk about real measurable benefits and levels of satisfaction, which are measured every 6 months or every year, and which have to improve. And that can start with hotel construction in a sustainable way, the way it is financed, and in a positive way, so grounded on positive psychology and the idea of well-being, and well-being being both physical and also mental, and so something for your body, your heart, and your soul. So meaningful tourism offers a tool to analyze and understand the situation, first of all, a tool to mitigate contradictions between stakeholders and align interests, so not going for compromises, but for aligning interests, and a whole to develop a holistic sustainable development strategy for companies, for regions, and a tool to develop smart KPIs, and I will talk a bit more later what is a smart KPI, to monitor the progress, and a tool to compare destinations and companies in a meaningful tourism index we published in 2023, and we will again publish this year, and a tool to support the meaningful tourism paradigm into academic education. So we have a special form for universities, for students. And last but not least, a tool to support the public tourism discourse so that we help with the KPIs to show transparently what are the positive effects of tourism and what is the satisfaction level and what is the perception of the different stakeholders. So how was it developed in the last 5 years? So in 2021, so in the second year of the pandemic, I established the Meaningful Tourism Center. And the following year, we started to do the Meaningful Tourism Award, so to show best practice examples. And we did this first in Singapore at the ITB Asia with the support of the Berlin Tourism Board. And then we did it in Doha at the Qatar Travel Market. And last year, we did it here in Kathmandu at the Himalayan Travel Mart. And this year, probably we will do this again here. And also, I published some little text about meaningful tourism in some of the handbooks and encyclopedias. And we did the first trial putting this into practice for the Tourism Ministry of Albania. And also in 2023, we published the Meaningful Tourism Index, where we looked at 88 countries and used 72 criteria to measure their meaningful tourism readiness and give them a ranking. And then last year, we established the Meaningful Tourism Center Limited in the UK as a non-profit organization, and we moved the headquarters to Kathmandu. And at the very end of last year, in the room we are in right now, you can see behind me the book. So that used to be the library of GATE, the Global Academy for Tourism Education. We started the first of the Meaningful Tourism Transformational Game workshops. The key point is, and maybe looking most especially on the last paragraph, is so to adopt meaningful tourism as a strategy is not a nice to have thing. It's not because you're a nice person or a nice company to do that. For most destinations and services, this is a necessity because the old business models are threatened by climate change and by other developments. And if you have forgotten what you learned in your university classes about creative destruction, so take out your Schumpeter again, or you can look it up online. And like the good news is the key theory of creative destruction is published on only 5 pages in one chapter of Mr. Schumpeter's book. And so the basic idea is we have to embrace change. We have to be happy to say goodbye to the old and embrace the new, more sustainable, more environmental friendly activities. Otherwise, well, we all know what will happen to mankind. So this is about meaningful tourism in a nutshell. And of course, we are happy to provide much more information about that. And one tool to do that are the Meaningful Tourism Transformational Game workshops. So this is something where within a day for companies and organizations, and within 2 days for students, we are trying to bring across this way of thinking, this way of acting, not by boring presentations, not by slides like, well, this one at the moment. I hope it's not too boring, but by having role plays, by having the participants really taking over the roles of one of the 6 stakeholders or somebody within that. So somebody becoming a small souvenir shop owner, somebody becoming a local farmer, and somebody becoming a Chinese tourist, whatever. And also based on the creation of KPIs for the specific situation, so that it's also clear what action should happen and how that result and the success of these actions should be measured. So, and this is based on the idea that, of course, today, everybody probably has something like this in the pocket. So a lot of the factual information is easily available, not only with Google, but now with ChatGPT or with Gemini and services like that. So you don't need a presenter. Don't need a professor like me to tell you this kind of things. What you still need is to understand the connections, the interconnectedness of things, and you have to have practical experiences. And this role play is a way where you can, in a condensed way, also step out of your normal shoes and step into the shoes of somebody else and thinking in another way, how for somebody else, from one of the other stakeholders, the development and the tourism situation now and in the future might be. So I can show you quickly how this is offered. So it can be a one-day workshop or a two-day workshop. There should be at least 6 participants for the 6 stakeholders. The best would be to have up to 18 people, so 3 different roles for each stakeholder group. But of course, it can also be more people if required. You need a venue where these people can fit in, and maybe some space where they can meet for their group work discussions. If necessary or if wished for, I can also join in online. And participants will receive a certification at the end, and we have our new website. And if they do not disagree to that, they will also be listed as certified participants on the website. So briefly have a look at what are key performance indicators. So key performance indicators should be SMART, so which means specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. So of course, happy to hear from you in the chat or using WhatsApp or using our new email address from our new website. And of course, also if you happen to be in Kathmandu, come and visit us. We're at the GATE Global Academy of Tourism and Hospitality Education. Thank you and goodbye.